Weren't you on the British diving team?
I was on the British team for almost 10 years. It was a silly thing. I got into it really late to be, efficient in any kind of international sport.
Imagine growing up in a world where every day feels like a challenge, yet the streets around you become a secret training ground for what's to come. This was Jason Statham's reality. Born on July 26, 1967, in Shirebrook, Derbyshire, England, Jason's early life was anything but ordinary. His father, Barry Statham, was a street seller, while his mother, Eileen, worked as a dancer and dancer's agent. From the very beginning, Jason was surrounded by a mix of grit, discipline, and a drive to survive. By his teenage years, his family had moved to Great Yarmouth, a seaside town where the waves and docks would unknowingly shape the future action star. Jason wasn't the kid hanging out at the mall or glued to video games. Instead, he found himself immersed in swimming and diving, displaying a natural athleticism that set him apart. By age 17, he was a competitive diver, performing at national competitions, sometimes risking life and limb from heights that would terrify most people. These early experiences weren't just about sport. They taught him focus, courage, and a fearlessness that would define his later career. But it wasn't just diving that shaped young Jason. He grew up around street culture, learning how to read people, move quickly, and handle himself. Martial arts became another obsession. Karate, judo, and kickboxing were more than hobbies. They were training for a life he didn't yet know he would live. By his late teens, Jason was also working odd jobs, from market stalls to modeling for small ads, trying to make ends meet while exploring every opportunity the world offered. Despite his physical talents, life in London was tough. The city's harsh streets taught lessons you can't learn in a gym, about resilience, strategy, and persistence. Friends came and went, some falling into trouble, some chasing dreams. But Jason kept moving, quietly honing his body and mind. You might not realize it, but those countless hours swimming against the current and jumping off diving platforms weren't just sports. They were preparing him for the high-risk, high-stakes world of Hollywood action films. By the time he hit his early 20s, Jason was a man with a unique combination of skills: the athletic precision of a diver, the discipline of a martial artist, and the street-smart instincts of someone who had navigated life's tougher side. Few would have guessed that this relatively unknown young man from England would soon become one of the most recognized faces in action cinema worldwide. But as with all great stories, the journey from streets to screens is never straightforward, and Jason's path was about to take a twist that would change everything. You won't believe how a chance encounter would pivot his life from sports and modeling into the world of movies. From the diving boards of Great Yarmouth to the red carpets of Hollywood, the story of Jason Statham's rise is as shocking as it is inspiring. Imagine this: a young man built like a tank, with a presence that commands attention, wandering through the worlds of modeling and competitive diving, when suddenly, fate steps in. For Jason Statham, that turning point came in the 1990s, and it would change everything. Before Hollywood, Jason was far from a household name. He made his living as a model, appearing in ads for big brands like French Connection. But modeling, while lucrative, was temporary. He needed something more, something that matched his intensity and fearless personality. Around this time, he also started exploring acting, attending auditions, and taking small roles. Yet, the industry didn't open its doors easily. Rejection was constant, and many saw him only as a rugged face, not a potential leading man. But Jason had one quality that would carry him through: relentless determination. Then came the moment that would define his career. In 1997, he met Guy Ritchie, a British director who had a very specific vision for his new crime comedy, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Ritchie was looking for authenticity, someone who could bring real grit to the screen, not just act it. Jason walked in, exuding a mix of toughness, charisma, and raw energy that immediately caught Ritchie's eye. He was offered the role of Bacon, a street-smart character who navigates London's criminal underworld with style and precision. This was more than a role, it was a launching pad. Critics praised his performance, audiences noticed his unique screen presence, and suddenly Jason Statham was no longer just a diver or model. He was an actor to watch. Yet, the journey wasn't smooth. Breaking into Hollywood required more than one breakthrough role. Jason faced skepticism, typecasting, and the challenge of proving he could carry an action film, not just support it. He trained harder, combining his diving and martial arts background to create a physicality that few actors could match. Each audition, each minor role became a chance to showcase his skills, his commitment, and his fearlessness. Soon, the opportunities multiplied. Directors began to recognize that Jason Statham wasn't just tough on screen. He lived that toughness. He could do his own stunts, fight convincingly, and bring a sense of realism that CGI couldn't replicate. Films like Snatch and the Transporter series followed, cementing his reputation as a true action star. But behind the rising fame, Jason remained disciplined and grounded, never forgetting the streets that had shaped him or the hours of training that had built him. What makes this phase of Jason's life so compelling isn't just the fame, it's the calculated climb, the strategy, and the physical and mental preparation behind every role. From London streets to the international film scene, his journey reminds us that sometimes opportunity doesn't just knock. You have to be ready to break the door down. And here's the part most people don't realize. While the world saw a confident, unstoppable action star, Jason's rise was quietly marked by intense preparation, relentless workouts, and a focus few could match. He wasn't lucky, he was ready. Imagine an action movie without Jason Statham, you just can't. From high-speed car chases to jaw-dropping fight sequences, he redefined what it means to be an action star. But what sets him apart isn't just the roles he plays, it's the way he lives them. Jason doesn't just act tough, he becomes the action itself. His rise to iconic status began with films like the Transporter series, where his combination of martial arts, diving precision, and street-smart agility came alive on screen. Unlike many stars who rely heavily on CGI or stunt doubles, Jason performs the majority of his own stunts. Picture him diving from moving vehicles, jumping through glass windows, or fighting multiple opponents in a single, seamless take. Every punch, kick, and maneuver is meticulously choreographed and executed by him. It's dangerous, exhausting, and frankly awe-inspiring. Fast-paced franchises like Crank, Death Race, and The Expendables only solidified his reputation. Audiences didn't just see an actor, they felt the adrenaline. Directors often comment on his unmatched work ethic. While others take a week to learn choreography, Jason throws himself into training for months. Martial arts, boxing, parkour, and mixed combat styles all become tools in his arsenal. Even swimming and diving, skills from his youth, sometimes appear in action sequences, showing a depth of physical capability rare in Hollywood. But his approach isn't just about strength or agility. It's discipline and preparation. Before a film, he studies every move, every camera angle, and every opponent. He works closely with stunt coordinators, sometimes performing scenes dozens of times to get the perfect take. For him, realism isn't optional, it's essential. The result? Audiences are on the edge of their seats, believing every moment, every threat, every narrow escape. And here's something most people don't know. Jason isn't just tough on screen, he's a strategist. He calculates risks, times his movements with military-like precision, and treats each stunt as a performance piece. That's why even in intense sequences, he maintains an uncanny composure, a cool intensity that defines his persona. This relentless commitment earned him more than box office success. It created a brand, the Jason Statham style. Fast, precise, and dangerously believable. He doesn't need explosions to sell a fight. His body is the spectacle. His characters are often loners, antiheroes, or skilled mercenaries, reflecting his own philosophy: mastery, control, and resilience. By now, audiences worldwide don't just watch a Jason Statham movie, they experience it. And while fame brings recognition, it also brings expectations. Every new role must surpass the last. Every stunt must outdo what came before. For Jason, that challenge is exhilarating, not intimidating. It's why, at 58, he's still performing, still risking, still thrilling audiences in ways most actors can only dream of. From the adrenaline-fueled streets of Transporter to the chaotic battlegrounds of Fast and Furious, Jason Statham didn't just become an action star. He became the benchmark by which all others are measured. You might see Jason Statham on screen taking impossible risks, but off camera, his life is a carefully guarded world of discipline, family, and privacy. Despite his fame, he's one of Hollywood's most elusive stars, rarely giving interviews and almost never showing his personal life to the public. This mystery only adds to his legendary persona. Jason's personal life is anchored by his family. He has been in a long-term relationship with Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, the supermodel and actress, and together they share 2 children. For Jason, family isn't just a headline, it's a sanctuary. Friends and colleagues describe him as fiercely protective and hands-on as a father. He balances his high-octane career with quiet moments at home, emphasizing normalcy over celebrity chaos. Fitness and training aren't just part of his career, they're a lifestyle. Even when not filming, Jason maintains a rigorous routine. His workouts are intense, a combination of boxing, martial arts, swimming, weightlifting, and functional training. This dedication isn't vanity, it's preparation. He knows that staying in peak physical condition is essential for performing the demanding stunts that define his career. But it also reveals his mental discipline, a focus few people could sustain over decades. Hobbies and interests paint a surprising picture. Jason is passionate about diving, a skill that traces back to his youth, and still occasionally participates in competitive diving challenges. He also enjoys cars and motorcycles, often collecting and customizing vehicles. Yet despite his love for high-speed thrills, he keeps his adventures measured and private, rarely showcasing them on social media. Privacy is a conscious choice. Jason avoids the tabloid frenzy that engulfs many stars, rarely attending flashy events or promoting himself on social platforms. This approach has helped him maintain a sense of normalcy in a life that could easily become overwhelming. He doesn't just guard his reputation, he protects his peace of mind. Even fame has its challenges. Maintaining relationships, staying grounded, and handling constant public attention requires strategy. Jason navigates this with a mix of humility and practicality, understanding that celebrity comes with responsibility. He's learned to separate his on-screen persona, the fearless, unbreakable action hero, from the man behind the roles, who values family, discipline, and quiet moments away from the spotlight. But what makes Jason truly remarkable isn't just his action-packed career. It's his ability to balance it with a grounded, disciplined life. While the world sees explosions, car chases, and epic fight sequences, Jason's off-screen life is measured, private, and focused on what truly matters: loved ones, health, and personal growth. You might think that living a high-octane Hollywood life would consume him, but Jason proves that discipline and focus can create harmony. And perhaps that's the secret behind his enduring energy, stamina, and magnetism on screen, even at 58. Behind the adrenaline, there's a man who understands that life off-camera is just as important as the legacy he builds on it. Imagine looking back at a career that has spanned decades, countless explosive action scenes, and a global fan following, and realizing you've redefined an entire genre. That's Jason Statham at 58. His legacy isn't just measured in box office numbers. It's in the way he transformed the action hero archetype. He's the rare star who combines authenticity, physical prowess, and charisma, creating characters that audiences don't just watch, they feel. From Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels to The Transporter, Crank, and the Fast and Furious franchise, Jason has consistently raised the bar. He proved that an action star doesn't need CGI to captivate audiences. Real stunts, real risk, and real dedication are his trademarks. He inspired a generation of actors and filmmakers to prioritize authenticity, proving that hard work and preparation often outshine spectacle alone. Even critics who once doubted his range now acknowledge his discipline and impact on the genre. Awards and accolades have followed, but perhaps more telling is the devotion of his fans. Social media is filled with tributes to his performances, iconic lines, and daring stunts. He isn't just an actor. He's a symbol of resilience, precision, and dedication. And while many stars fade with age, Jason's presence only grows stronger, a testament to his unwavering commitment to fitness, training, and skill mastery. But Jason isn't resting on his laurels. Future projects promise to push boundaries even further. rumors suggest upcoming roles in high-profile action films, including collaborations with top directors and daring new stunts that will leave audiences breathless. Even at 58, he's not slowing down. Instead, he's evolving, blending experience with innovation to deliver performances that are both thrilling and believable. Beyond movies, his influence extends to culture and lifestyle. His disciplined approach to fitness, his calculated privacy, and his relentless work ethic have inspired not only aspiring actors, but anyone striving for mastery in their field. He embodies the idea that longevity in a demanding career requires balance, strategy, and passion. Reflecting on his journey from a competitive diver in England to an international action icon, Jason Statham's story is one of persistence, courage, and transformation. He didn't just stumble into fame. He engineered it with precision, turning his physical talents, street-smart instincts, and fearless mindset into a brand that's recognized worldwide. So, what's next for Jason Statham? More adrenaline, more stunts, more unforgettable performances. But his greatest legacy might be the standard he set, that true action stars aren't just performers, they're craftsmen, strategists, and risk-takers who bring every role to life with unmatched dedication. At 58, Jason proves that age is no barrier to excellence. And for fans worldwide, the thrill is far from over. From London streets to Hollywood fame, from diving platforms to death-defying stunts, Jason Statham's journey is as inspiring as it is exhilarating. And now, you've seen the full story, behind the action, the fame, and the legend.